You ever feel like you're going through a breakup with someone who technically never even liked you like that? You're sitting there, heartbroken over a person who never sent you flowers, never made it official, never called you theirs, but somehow still managed to wreck your soul without even trying? Yeah, that's what we're talking about. This pain that makes zero sense on paper, but hits like a truck emotionally. Because how am I this hurt over someone who never even asked me to be exclusive? It's wild, right? There was no title, no label, no anniversary, but still, here you are, listening to sad songs that don't even apply fully, staring at the ceiling like you just went through a whole divorce. It's embarrassing, but it's also real. Because what you're grieving isn't just them, you're grieving the idea of them. The version of them you built in your head, the connection you thought was mutual, the potential that felt like it was just about to turn into something, and then didn't. And honestly, that's what makes it worse. When something ends before it even starts, you don't just lose a person, you lose the possibility of them. And the worst part? The world doesn't even let you grieve it properly. You go to your friends, I think I'm heartbroken. And they're like, didn't you all just flirt a little? We flirted. We said goodnight every night, made future plans, gave each other nicknames, shared playlists, did everything but date. And somehow, that makes it more confusing, not less. Because your brain is like, we weren't together, so why does it hurt? And your heart is like, shut up. I love them. And your therapist is like, okay, but where's the proof? And you're like, the vibes, ma'am, the vibes. We talk about relationships ending, but we don't talk enough about almost relationships ending. The kind that never got a title but took up just as much space in your head. The kind that lived in the maybe and died in the silence. You kept checking your phone like, maybe they'll text, maybe they'll explain, but they didn't. They just disappeared. And now you're spiraling with nothing but screenshots and what ifs. And what makes this kind of pain so sneaky is that it doesn't get validated. Nobody throws you a breakup party when your situationship ends. You're just supposed to shake it off and move on. Like you didn't spend weeks decoding their texts and replaying that one night where you swear they looked at you like you were the only person in the world. But here's the thing. You were there. You showed up with your whole chest. You loved with intention, even if they didn't. They gave you just enough to keep your hopes alive, and not enough to make you feel safe. They were always almost in, and you were always all in. That imbalance, that's what made you feel like you were begging for something that should have been basic. And yeah, maybe you didn't date, but you definitely dreamt. Maybe you didn't kiss, but you definitely imagined it. Maybe you didn't say, I love you, but it was there. In the way you stayed up, in the way you waited, in the way you hoped they'd finally see you the way you saw them, and they never did. Or maybe they did. And honestly, that hurts worse than rejection, because rejection is clean. But ambiguity? Ambiguity is hell. It leaves you doubting yourself, wondering if you imagined the whole thing. And let me say this right now. You didn't. You didn't imagine it. You just happened to feel more than they did. Or maybe they felt it too, and just weren't ready for the kind of love you bring. And that's not your fault. Some people don't know how to receive love that doesn't come with games. Some people see your emotional availability and freak out because they're used to chasing things that hurt them. They meet you, they feel safe, and instead of staying, they run. Because that kind of vulnerability scares the hell out of people who've never seen it modeled. And I know it's tempting to hold on, to hope they come back, to think, maybe if I just level up, post the right story, be cool and mysterious and detached, then they'll realize what they lost. Spoiler alert, if someone only sees your worth after losing you, they never deserved you in the first place. You're not a second chance. You're a first choice. You're not someone people remember when they're bored. You're the person they should have shown up for in the first place. Because someone who wants to be with you, they won't make you guess. They'll make it clear. I know you still check their stories. I know your stomach still drops when you see their name. But just because someone left an imprint doesn't mean they deserve access to your heart again. Missing them isn't a sign to go back. So stop waiting for closure. Stop rereading conversations like the ending's gonna change. Stop giving so much power to someone who didn't give you clarity when you needed it most. You didn't deserve silence. You didn't deserve to be strung along. And you definitely didn't deserve to heal from something that was never even clear to begin with. But you will heal. I promise. You'll wake up one day and realize you don't care who they're texting. You won't overthink what went wrong. You'll stop romanticizing a connection that was built more on fantasy than reality. You'll stop craving the version of them you imagined. Because here's the truth. Just because it wasn't love to them doesn't mean it wasn't love to you. You loved, you hoped, you tried, and even though it didn't turn into the story you wanted, it still told you something about yourself. It told you your heart's capacity. It told you your soul's depth. It told you you're capable of showing up fully, even when there's no guarantee you'll be met there. So yeah, maybe you never dated, but the grief is real. The pain is real. If you've ever cried over something that wasn't real, just know you're not alone. Sometimes the heartbreaks with no name are the ones that shape us the most. And if you've lived through it, if you're living through it, your story matters. Because healing doesn't always start with a conversation. Sometimes it starts with saying, damn, that really hurt, and meaning it.